right, so my name is Tony Loberger, and I had the milkweed plant, and let's get started. Alright, just a little bit of background information about the milkweed plant. It is primarily found in North America, more of the northern states in America, kind of where we are, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Maine's very popular in all those areas like that. It is a perennial, which means it comes back every year, with a typical lifespan of 8 to 10 years, I found, which I thought was kind of interesting. And yeah, so with just one plant, they're able to spread very quickly each year. There's a lot of seeds. When the wind blows, kind of tosses them all over the place. They move very easily, and yeah, very, very good that they're able to spread like that. They're the required host plant for caterpillars of the monarch butterfly, which is a huge importance to this plant, which is what I will be going through in most of this presentation today. And they're currently in a spot of trying to boost the amount of plants in North America, basically all areas of North America, as monarch butterflies are kind of endangered. Again, I'll tap on that later in this presentation. Alright, so a little bit about the milkweed seeds, as they are very important. They're a very interesting shape and very easy to get to. As you can see right here, it kind of comes inside this pod. And there are many seeds within the pod, and you can kind of see the white that is sticking out of the seeds there. And actually what that is, when the pods open up, they're able to fly around kind of like the helicopters from maple plants. So they kind of drop down and they twirl. So they can fly around, they can get in the wind, and kind of move all over the place, which is really good. And like I said, very easy to break and spread wherever they need to go, which is very important. So this is Project Milkweed, something that I found that was very interesting, trying to bring back the milkweed plants and kind of not reintroduce, but continue to grow in America and I guess in other places. So there's been a seed shortage of the milkweed plant for many years now. And this project has been led by Xerxes Society, and then they were also joined by a bunch of different other private companies and Monarch joint venture. They were given a USDA Natural Resources Conservation Innovation Grant, which was a good amount of money from the USDA, which was very important as well. And then some private foundations also chipped in for this project. So a lot of different companies, different people, like the USDA jumping in, which is really big, giving money, giving support in Project Milkweed. Continued. So what they were trying to do is produce new sources of milkweed in areas of monarch butterfly breeding ranges, which is very important because in certain areas where there are monarch butterflies, there are not enough milkweed plants, which is, again, like I said earlier, the main feeding source for these caterpillars as they're growing up, going into their chrysalis and then becoming a monarch. So this is a huge part of the stage for monarch butterflies, and without the resources of the milkweed plants, they're not able to do that, which is why Project Milkweed is very important. This is boosting the amount of caterpillars and monarchs that are breeding and producing in areas there have been a decline of milkweed. There are also many states that do not have milkweed, which I thought was extremely interesting and looked into more. Arizona, Florida, Texas, New Mexico, California. I think there were a few other, but that is very important as they're kind of the southern states. So the milkweed probably is not familiar with that heat, whatever it might be, but they're trying to introduce that there to bring those monarch butterflies to those areas. Yeah, and they're just introducing these seeds to spread the monarchs across North America, which is very important. It's a beautiful butterfly. My story with Project Milkweed. In 2019, on a field trip to the Horicon March, I actually didn't know this at the time when, obviously, I was here. I was just a junior in high school. We were going on a field trip to Horicon Marsh, and we were actually introduced to these seeds, and they had us walk around. They had so many different plants all over the place in the marsh, and they had us pick off these seeds off the plants, collect them, and they were later on sent to states for planting in different areas, just a bunch of different stuff that they were able to use the seeds for. And I think, especially looking at it now, learning more about Project Milkweed, it is really important that I did that. It was kind of cool experience to look back on now. So that is kind of my story with Project Milkweed. All right, the importance of monarch butterflies, and this is where we kind of get more into why the milkweed plant is so important for the monarchs. So they are one of the most beautiful and popular butterflies in North America. Whenever you see a monarch, you know it's a monarch. Everyone calls it a monarch. If you see it flying around, you kind of just want it to come by you, fly around, maybe land on you. It's just a super cool experience having those monarchs flying around. You have beautiful designs and colors that are just extremely pleasing to the eyes. And there are a lot of beautiful butterflies out there, but the monarch is the most beautiful of them all and the most popular of them all. With short lifespans, and they have short lifespans, and many kids will collect their caterpillars to watch them grow into a chrysalis and become a beautiful monarch. It is definitely something that I did as a kid. I would still do it now if I found a caterpillar. It's just such a cool experience, something very awesome to watch. Facing extinction. The monarch butterfly is endangered right now and is on the verge of extinction, which is why Project Milkweed and others are working together to bring more milkweed to areas and to keep the monarchs alive. It is super important to keep these things flying around. They go together like peanut butter and jelly. You cannot have one without the other. Without the milkweed, there would be no monarchs. Why is this important to me? Obviously, choosing a plant that interests me, I wanted to choose something that I had in my past, something that was important, kind of just something very interesting to me. So my neighbor, when I was a young kid, had milkweed in his garden. He had a huge, luscious garden, so many different plants. It was just really cool to go over and see. I was very intrigued. I loved sunflowers. I loved growing like carrots and different stuff like that. So when I was a kid, each year he would bring over a few caterpillars for us to watch grow up and become a beautiful monarch. This was super cool because as a kid, you kind of don't understand how important, just like the cycle of going from a caterpillar to chrysalis to monarch, it's just such a crazy, insane process that was so cool to watch as a kid. I remember one year we actually had we were able to watch the monarch break out of the chrysalis, which was very cool because most of the times it takes about 30 minutes to an hour for them to break out, and sometimes you miss them if you're not looking all the time, and we were able to actually watch the monarch break out of the chrysalis, which is just an unbelievable experience. So yeah, as you can see, I absolutely love the monarchs, and I would just be devastated if they were gone from the earth. How I helped. So my neighbor was nice enough to give us some of the milkweed seeds after the season was done for me to plant on my own. And then with those, in our backyard by our pool, I actually planted those kind of in a corner away from where the pool was. Excuse me. I was able to plant those away from where the pool was and watch them grow up. And eventually, within 3 to 4 years, we had over 25 milkweed stalks, and they were all just growing all over the place, beautiful flowers, and it brought in a ton of monarchs and caterpillars. And it was a super cool experience because each summer, our pool is flooded with beautiful monarchs flying around. There's always caterpillars. You can go back and see there's always chrysalises. It's such a cool experience to have just right in our backyard. It was just something really cool that I'm glad I did when I was a kid. All right, why is it important and ways to help? Obviously went through this a lot in this presentation, but they are a national treasure to North America, monarchs are, and the milkweed is what brings those monarchs. Without the milkweed plants, that would all be gone. Finding these seeds and spreading them across areas are very easy to do. Like my story, 7-year-old me could do it. It's not that hard to do. So it's kind of just a cool thing that you are able to do as well. And seeing the monarch in the wild is truly a moving experience and something that we do not want gone. So yeah, that is it for this presentation. I love the milkweed plant, everything that has brought for me and my life. Monarchs, keeping them around, it's overall just a crazy, cool experience to have monarchs. And I'm very glad I did more research on this plant. I was able to find a lot of information that I did not know beforehand, so that was kind of really cool to see. And yeah, that's kind of all I got here on my works cited. All these different websites. The website for the Project Milkweed is on here. The Xerxes, that is the company that was doing Project Milkweed. So, yeah, that's about all I have for today. Love the milkweed, still growing in my yard. And, yeah, that's all.